Alright, these are all the ego's tools. These are all the ego's tools, alright? And what we're going to do now, there's a tool for every one of them. Alright? So show us how Thank you, Leah. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Michael. Happy birthday to you. Okay, I'm ashamed now. Andy, I think we'll start again. Can you press stop there?
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. What we have, what we have seen already is all the ego's tools on this. Okay, so there's a number of tools there for the ego. All right. So what we're going to see now is the tool to deal with those tools. Yeah. So I've called this the error and the correction. Okay. So the first one that there was for the ego was judgment. Okay? So the tool for that, right, is what? The key, first of all, is awareness. You have to be aware that you're judging. And it's that awareness that you're judging which is really going to bring you to be without judgment. Okay? So awareness is the tool there. Okay? Then we have, the next one is denial, which is the tool for the ego. Alright? What's the tool to deal with that?
Acceptance.
Yeah?
Responsibility.
Yes. When you take responsibility, right, you're not in denial. Okay, I was speaking to Charlotte here on the break, and Charlotte made 5 statements to me. Okay? And every statement that Charlotte made to me, she fulfilled the role of the victim. She was playing the role of the victim. She was saying, this is too hard. You know, there are other people getting away with this and they don't seem to be, you know, going through the pain that I'm going through. Alright? They don't seem to be suffering the way I'm suffering. You see, what she's done is, she wants that thought come into her mind, she stepped into the role of the victim. And in that role, you're going to feel everything that she told me she was feeling. It comes automatic when you play that role. Okay? And when Shaggy says, oh, I have good days. And when she has good days, what she was doing was taking responsibility. When you take responsibility, you're not a victim. Okay? When you're a victim, you're not taking responsibility. So denial is a part of, I'm not taking responsibility, I'm a victim, I'm in denial. Okay? So responsibility is a brilliant tool to have. The next one then is projection. Okay? What's the tool for projection?
ATM.
ATM, I'll just put it as forgiveness. Okay? The next one then is rationalization. I'll just put an RIS. RIS. What's the tool for rationalization? What's the tool?
Complete forgiveness.
Complete forgiveness. Okay? The next tool then is displacement. Complete forgiveness. Yeah? Complete forgiveness. The next one then was intellectualization. And the tool is?
Truth forgiveness.
Do you know why this is? Because these are all emotions. Alright, and we're dealing with them with projection, rationalization, displacement, intellectualization. You know that diagram we did with the box at the top? Okay? Complete forgiveness will deal with all of these. Okay? Then you have sublimitation. And you have complete forgiveness. You have repression. And again, complete forgiveness. You have disassociation.
Michael, how can you do complete forgiveness when something you don't have awareness of? But depression is it's gone, it's outside your conscious awareness.
Yeah, you have to become aware of it.
You can't if you're repressed.
Well, you aware by not being aware of it when you're repressed. You see now that you're doing A Course in Miracles, you're becoming aware. Once you start applying forgiveness, you're starting to waken up awareness, which is the decision maker. Yeah. Okay. So there's no way, if you're doing A Course in Miracles for a period of time, you can turn around and say, no, I don't know that I'm not repressing. There's no way you can turn around and say, I'm not aware of my projections. I'm not aware of my rationalizations. So a few of these are alright, but you know these now because we talked about them already, like, you know, taking your anger out in certain things, like, you know, or picking on someone who's less threatening to you. That's your responsibility to become aware of all of these. So these are all emotions. And if we don't deal with them, they're going to go around and they're going to go into the bank.
I actually think that life will create situations that will trigger those things that you didn't have awareness, and they will bring forth, and actually life will bring those situations to you. It's like I call it triggers.
Yes.
And the situation will be there. And it's not a test, it's simply an opportunity for you to act.
Exactly. It's an opportunity for you to empty the bank. Do you know what I mean? Or it's an opportunity for you to fill the bank at the end of the day. Like Charlotte was saying earlier on, what we saying, Charlotte, like, you know, that you didn't know. You know, that's no excuse. That's an excuse if you're totally unconscious.
I didn't know.
Yeah, but you didn't know you were playing the victim.
That's right.
Right, that's no excuse. That's what I'm saying. It's no excuse. It's up to you to take responsibility and notice. You're doing A Course in Miracles. It's different if you're out in the world, like, you know, and you have no spirituality, you have no idea what's going on. Then this is the way, the place where we're all at some stage in our own lives, we were there, like, we didn't know all of this. Now we know this, we're learning this. This is what it's all about. So it's really your responsibility.
What about, sorry, no, what about God taking the last step?
You deal with the first 3 levels, that's not to the 6th level, all right? You're intellectualizing now. Okay, so disassociation. Does that answer the question?
Yes.
Yeah, it's just about, you know, you're going to be, you have to stop mind wandering, which means I have to be vigilant now for all thoughts that I have. Yeah? And there are thoughts that's going to come up, and you're going to, if you're going to repress them, then you can't blame now that you don't know, because you should know. Yeah? Disassociation. What's the 2? No.
Responsibility.
Choice.
You're disassociate, you're separate.
Oneness. Yeah.
The law of one. Okay? The ego right mind. Yeah. Okay? Resistance through rationalization. And the rationalization would be, I'm too busy to do this meditation. I'm too busy to do this. I don't have the time to do that. I have to do this. I have to do this. They're all resistance, which is fear, which is you're rationalizing. What's so? Okay. What's the tool now for that?
Maybe present.
Awareness. Because if you're not aware that you're rationalizing, you're going to keep rationalizing. Okay? So if you're not aware of a resistance, you're going to keep rationalizing your resistance. And you're going to come up with some great ideas. Ken Wapnick used to say, you know, the people, they overload their day every day, all right, to make sure that they don't have any time to think or do meditations or do anything else. So that means we will subconsciously, you know, have 1,001 things to do every day. Like, we're just too busy, too busy, too busy, too busy. We're all the time going because we don't want to stop and think, you know, and that's resistance. Did Next one is forgive to destroy. Forgiveness to destroy. ATF or complete forgiveness. Either will do. Okay. Next one, false empathy. False empathy?
No.
That's not the answer?
True.
Okay. The next one is special relationships. Holy relationships. The next one is the role of the victim. Charlotte?
Yes, responsibility.
Okay. The next one is the authority problem. Not the answer for everything.
Awareness.
No. What are we doing with the authority problem? Why don't we not go?
Responsibility.
No?
Accept surrender.
Who said it? The law of acceptance. That was the whole problem with the authority problem. We're not willing to accept God as our creator, God as the first cause, or that we are God's creation. Okay? So you have the law of acceptance. You have past, time in past and future.
No.
Yeah. And then you have, we'll quote Charlotte on this one. Injustice.
It's mindlessness.
Responsibility.
There's a genuine injustice. I don't remember injustice in the list.
Yeah, forgot it.
Forgiveness.
You
I
forgot.
actually know.
Yeah, injustice. Like Charlotte was saying to me, right, that it wasn't fair that she had to suffer while other people don't seem to be suffering. So that's an injustice. It's one of the laws.
Right action. Responsibility.
What's that?
The law of karma. Okay? And that's one of the 13 spiritual laws. And if you read that, you'll understand, right, that we always punish ourselves. So if you do or say something to me, all right, the ego says, I have to punish you. You have to suffer for that, and I'm going to make you suffer. Okay?
For saying it, is it, sorry? For saying something?
Or doing something.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like we're always getting our own back on people. I'm going to get me on. That's the ego's motto all the time, is to get even. All right? But no matter who does anything on you, they're doing it to themselves. So you don't have to. You take action. Because when you take action, you're playing God. You're saying, I'm going to take care of this. So if you read that section, the justice of God, you'll see in that section, what the justice of God is.
Is that not the same as the role of victim now?
But injustice. No, but
They're all, I suppose, yeah,
yeah, but you can see someone else. You can see someone else kind of victimizing someone else,
yeah.
and you'll want to blame God. You'll want to say what you're doing there is wrong. And the ego just loves that, because now what you're kind of doing, you're punishing this person, even if you don't say anything or do anything in your mind. You're punishing this person. You're attacking. At the end of the day, we can only hurt ourselves. You don't need to take any action. And then there is.
Forgot mindlessness.
Yeah, come to it.
Love haste.
What's
Mindlessness is for all men.
Mindfulness.
yeah, we'll go through this first, sorry.
Oh, love.
Huh?
True love.
True love. Okay, and what's true love?
Unconditional.
Unconditional love. Okay, and it's the thing we're going to do a lot more in the teacher's course also, is love and what love is not. Alright? And then the last one is for you, Mary, What's the key to that? What's the answer to that?
Awareness.
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 Okay? Now, you can see that you know all of these. We've been doing these all this year. You have all of these tools. Alright? You mightn't have been aware of the Eagles toolbox. There's not too many people in the world that's completely aware of all of these tools. Yeah? But we're going to be doing a lot more of those in the teacher's course because this is a very important. Everything on what this workshop we have done today, you'll be using in psychotherapy. Alright? Because this is where all the problems people have. You know? Somebody will come to you with a problem. Alright? And in that problem, they'll tell you what the answer is. Because all you have to do is recognize what tool that they're using of the ego, and then you'll have the cure, the answer, the correction over here in this column. And all you have to do then is how you present, you know, to this person, this is what you need to do. Okay? Now this goes against the psychotherapy of this world. Because the psychotherapy of this world is all about, based about this coping mechanisms to deal with this world. Okay? What we're trying to do here, right, is transcend this world. Because it doesn't work. It really doesn't work. When you go to a psychotherapist of the world, right, you're going there to make your ego a healthier ego. And that means it's magic. So therefore, you're going to have to work bloody hard to keep the ego happy. Because the ego, by definition, cannot be kept happy. It's always going to have a problem. So you might deal with projection and displacement. You know, all of these things. You know, when you, the ego, in the course it says, the ego will only use the tools that works for it. Okay? So once you are aware, say, of displacement, for example, right? And you know this now, and you're dealing with that at the emotional level, all right, using complete forgiveness, and it's not working for the ego anymore, it's gone. And it's not gone for 5 minutes, it's gone permanently, it's deleted permanently. Okay? And the same goes for repression, disassociation, all of these rationalizations, you know, the ego right mind, all of these, one by one, they will all drop apart. All right? And it's like that picture. It's like this picture here, right? All of the ego's tools are all lined up here, one by one by one by one by one. These are all the tools here. And as you basically now come to know these tools and correct them with the tools here, they all start dropping away. Okay? And then this self here, one day you wake up, it's gone. This is gone, and this is back to you, the real you, who you are. And it is simple. It really is simple. You know?
Michael, could I ask you a question?
Yeah.
In your work, if you're a counsellor or a psychotherapist or whatever, I know I haven't read the psychotherapy pamphlet, but I'm aware of Ken Watnick talking about that. The moment you don't judge your client, that's when healing occurs.
Yes.
So this is all the work we need to do on ourselves. But if you're in that situation and you have a client or you have a friend or a relative and who's talking about that, and you can see there's displacement going on there, there's whatever, you're seeing that in yourself. Is that correct?
Right. But you see, I know where you're coming from, right? You're kind of using the judgment to see it. Is that what you're saying? You see, what it is the judgment that Jesus is talking about, to be without judgment. You don't see the other person separate from you. Yeah. No matter who comes to you, they're a part of you. Right? The psychotherapists of this world, you walk in and they'll put you as a label, oh, you're a whack job, or you're a nut job, or you're this, or they'll say, hey, they're not to do with me. Like, do you know what they like? Full of judgments. But no matter who comes to me, I see and recognize this person, this is me. And nearly 99.9% of the time, and this is the way it works, I was sitting when that person was. I had been in that place where that person
So
was.
it's a recognition
Yes.
that you have the same thought processes as this person.
Yes.
But when you're in a place where you're clear, you can see
Yes.
that in them,
Very
know
clearly.
that you have it,
Yes.
or you have the potential still to have it.
Well, it's not that you have it or you have still the potential to have it, that you're dealing with it. And as you help this person to deal with it, it strengthens within you. It's like the work that I do here teaching the course. The more that I give this out, the more strength within me. You know, it's unbelievable. I mean, like, when I would go home tonight, like, you know, it's, the surge goes through you is unbelievable, like, you know. And the more you give away, the more it comes back in again, like, you know. And it's the same with guilt. The more guilt you go out, the more it comes back. But the more you give, you know, this, you know, give love and give the course and share knowledge and everything else, it's just strength and it just makes you grow. I mean, I'm a completely different person now than I was 2 years ago. I'm a completely different person now than I was 2 years ago. I'm a completely different person than I was now when this thing started 9 months ago. So you're growing, everybody's growing all the time. Like, and I know Margaret says to me sometimes, you're getting very clear. And I went, well, who's getting clear, Margaret? Margaret's getting clear. You know, so we're all, you know, we're all growing together. We're all getting that clarity together. Like, you know, we're all joined as one. You know? Does that answer your question?
Yes, yeah, thank you.
Sorry, Michael, just on that, you know, like if someone goes to a psychotherapist, they're usually dealing with stuff a lot of the time from the past.
Yeah.
And in a way, when you're stuck there, you're given the power to the past to create your destiny in the future.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I agree with you.
So it's to help that person understand that if you continue that, that's just going to be your life. It's just going to be a pattern.
But that's not enough.
No, I know that, but it's a beginning.
Yeah, but really, you know, even to take that a step further, it's about, well, you're only going to let the past go when you understand it, when you know exactly what the problem was. We hold on to the past because we don't know. You know, we're unaware, we're unconscious. You know, and we actually think we did hurt someone. You know, we actually believe we have made grave mistakes and we can't let it go. We're the only species on the world, like, you know, that when we make one mistake in our life and we'll carry it with us for the rest of our life. We can't let our mistakes go. And this is what we did with the whole separation. We believed that it was real and we can't let it go because it was so traumatic, you know. So it's about looking at the past. It's not about denying it, not about rationalizing it or doing any of all those tools that the ego does with the past. You go to a therapist, you know, what they're trying to do is make these better for you. You know, we'll go back and say, right, the problem was your parents. It was the way you were brought up. You know, they're trying to give you, you know, a rationalization for it. Like, if you haven't got it already, like, you know.
But Michael, many people, I think that I was, for want of a better word, psychotherapist. Many people, it didn't work in lots of cases because people got stuck.
Yeah.
You could bring them back, you could find all the reasons, blame the parents,
Yeah.
the abuse or whatever, but they tended to get stuck in that.
Because that was never the problem, you see.
No. And this is, you know, this
Yeah.
is so much clearer.
Yeah, it's because, you see, this is the beauty about rationalization, because the ego is saying the problem's here, and we're dealing with these problems, and we think we have them cured, all right, and maybe we have them cured here, but the problem is still in here. It's never even been looked at, and it will all come up again and again and again, because everything we sort out here, we're rationalizing, goes to the bank.
The clients used to say they were like onions. They
Yeah.
felt that they were you were just taking off a layer of skin and another layer would come
Exactly,
up.
exactly. That's the bank. That's
Yeah.
the bank. Do you know? And it's just everything you put into the bank comes back. So it's about having the right tools for the right job. This, like, you know, and you know, it's about using these and knowing these yourself first,
Yes.
because you can only give to someone else what you have already have. You know, so if you're learning these tools, you don't have everything will come automatically. You know, when you're talking to someone, because you know this now. You know.
I think somebody who's completely untrained can do this
Without a doubt.
without, it's just with natural empathy and if
Yes,
they have the
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the less training, the better.
the better.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the person who thinks they know everything is going to have a big bother.
I know.
And I was blessed that way because You know, I had no spirituality, I hadn't any religious stronghold of, you know, religious connotations this way or that way. I had a blank sheet. And when it came then to the course, like, you know, it was just, I was able to accept everything that I seen in it, you know, without question, without me saying, oh, well, this is what I think it should be, or this is what I think it should be, or, you know, could be, or would be, or whatever, like, you know. So, unfortunately, you know, the more spiritual knowledge you have before you come to the course is a big hindrance. This is why Jesus says at the beginning, unlearn everything you've already learned, you know.
So that is the meaning behind the words, unless you are like little children, you cannot find the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah. See, little children, they just look at everything, and they look at everything without judgment. They're in awe, and they're all of this, like, you know. And as we get older, we're educated, and we're told what this is, and what this is, and what this is. Unfortunately, everything we're told is a crock of shit. You know, not to put too much word on it, like, you know. And it is, like, you know, and then we believe this, and it's so hard to get them beliefs undone, like, you know, because this is what we see our parents or grandparents, and this is what everybody else does. The problem is, like Jesus says, the blind lead the blind. Our parents have been blind. Our teachers have been blind. Our ancestors have been blind. Because everybody's blind because they're all conscious. You know, and it's only now that the world's starting to wake it up. And there's a new level of teacher coming into the world, you know. And those teachers are conscious teachers who now know the truth. And like you said, you were a psychotherapist. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It'll work for maybe a couple of weeks or whatever. And then
the next layer is you take off one layer, and then something else will come up, and it's trying to be back again. And
yeah, exactly. And you'll make a fortune in a psychotherapist. And that's why they're all very rich.
Oh, I didn't. I wasn't charging something.
Yeah. Well, in America, they're very rich, you know, because, you know, it's great. Like, it's like you have a car, and you're going to get the car fixed, and the mechanic never fixes the car, all right? And you're always taking the car back again. So, you know, you have a lot of repeat work all the time in it, you know? So I'm not giving out about psychotherapists.
No, it has its limitations, but you did tend to be trained to label people.
Yeah.
And it was not helpful.
Through judgment.
Yeah.
And that's why the Cora is saying then, without judgment, that's when healing occurs, you know?
And you know that book, the psychotherapy is the DSM? Like, it's got like that size, from that size, and then it's got the labels.
Yeah. Why is that?
Doesn't work, I suppose.
Well, I mean, it's like, you'll always know someone's lying to you if you ask them something to give you 4 or 5 different answers. All right? Because what they're really doing is they're hoping that one of the answers they give you is the right one. You'll always know someone's telling you the truth when they give you one answer. Because they're coming from what they believe the truth is. You know? So it's like everything else, the ego is complex, and complexity is only of the ego. So the ego makes everything so complex because it's all a screen, smoke and mirrors, like, you know. See, you know, if you really got down to the basics of it and see it, you would say that doesn't work. It's insane. So the ego makes everything complex. They're nothing simple. Einstein was it that said, if you can't explain something simply, you don't understand it well enough. You know? So that's what it really comes down to. Any other questions?
I have one. It's up to you to answer this question. I'm just really curious.
I've never refused to answer a question yet.
I'm really curious to know what was your personal experience once you got this wake-up call, and then how did you feel when you look at the newspaper and TV? How did you feel once you woke up? Because I'm really curious about that. Because I'm feeling a big difference, the way how I react to the newspapers, and before I was indifferent to it, and now I feel, I look at the newspaper and go, okay, there's really no separation, it's all just a big lie, and these people are one with me, so I was just curious about what was your experience.
Well, I was in a very, very dark place, and within a millisecond, the lights turned on everywhere, so I went from complete darkness into complete light, okay? And at the beginning, it was, you know, it was a big shock, all right? Because like I said, I was spiritually unaware of everything, but there was a part of me that knew everything. I also knew that. But what happened is my perception also changed. In the course, it talks about false perception through perception. So I started seeing the truth in everything. You know, I started to see two people having an argument, okay, and I knew exactly what they were doing. So two people, I used to go out and I would sit and I'd hear people having conversations, and they would be having a conversation here, say two girls were having a conversation, but they're also having a conversation up here at this level. And I knew everything about those two girls. I knew everything they loved, I knew everything they hated, I knew all their dark secrets about themselves, just from them having a normal conversation. Because you see behind our projections, you see the truth behind everything. You know, and one of the things that happened very quickly, I stopped having opinions and things, you know, like the news and all this. I was always very opinionated, which meant I was very judgmental, and I would always see who was right, and I always aligned with the victim because I see myself as a victim. You know, so I actually at the time, do you remember Kosovo?
Yes.
Right? And I thought it was horrible what was happening there at that time, and America wouldn't step in or anybody. So what I did was I put leaflets out in Letterkenny looking for people to join me for the Kosovo Liberation Army, KLA, right? And I wanted volunteers, and I was going to go and fight for them because I seen what was happening for them. They were pure, you know, because I aligned myself being a victim, and I was going to go, and I got one volunteer to come with me. And he's not the type of guy you would take into war with. But God bless him, like, you know, he was the only one that was going to, and I was deadly serious about doing this, like, you know. And then I was talked out of it, like, you know, because I needed more, you know, fighters with me or whatever, like, you know. But that's how strong I felt about it then. But now I look what's going on in Palestine and Israel and everything else, and I just see it, it's the war that I had with myself all my life. That's all it is.
Separation.
Yeah, that's the war that we have with ourselves is projected out, and we see it in different forms.
So this is what they call the lifting of the curtain, or the lifting of the veil.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. You just basically now start to see the truth. The less you judge, the more you see the truth. And when you wake up one day, you'll be without judgment. It just means you won't have an opinion on anything. I don't know, Melissa, she keeps asking me my opinion on this, opinion on that, opinion. I just don't have any. Like, I couldn't care less. It's not that I don't care. It's just like I don't care, you know, about the form that I see, the way I see it. You know, I don't care who's right or wrong. You know, I don't care who's good, who's evil. All of those kind of, I don't care about that.
Because there are labels. That's
Yeah,
it.
exactly. So without judgment, it's a completely different life altogether. You know, and you see everything different. There's so much beauty in this world, it's unbelievable, and nobody can see it. Everybody just sees all the horrible stuff all the time.
Even in the world, little miracles happen. I mean, as we're pointing out there, when Paisley died, that who would have thought that not alone was he and Martin McGuinness end up working together, but they were actually became quite friendly, or so they say. But I mean, like 10 years, 15 years ago, if anybody said that, they would have been parted off to the loony bin.
Exactly.
So things move along.
Of course. Well, there's a new consciousness coming in, like, you know, there's a new level of awareness coming in. Children being born now at a much higher level of consciousness of the last generation. It's the first big split for 2,000 years, you could say, is happening. And this is why, you know, I can see the call for teachers for Jesus, like, you know, it's very important because, you know, this is what's needed in Ireland, like, you know. And that guy who was criticizing me, you know, and I said to him in the text, I says, do you not think, you know, that Ireland would be a better place with more teachers of Course in Miracles? And you know what his answer was? There is no Ireland.
Is this guy isn't a Course in Miracles student?
He's well known to a lot of people, you know.
Mike Gardner, one of those guys.
But that was his answer. There is no Ireland. You know, chat about denying where you are, like, you know, well, who was he texting? Who was he getting on to about, you know, A Course in Miracles in Ireland? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, chat about a contradiction, you know. So this is what I'm saying, like, you know, there are people sitting back there.
Why did he say that?
Well, he had a problem with what I'm doing here of teaching teachers, you know, getting more teachers into, you know, teach the course and other forms of spirituality. He said that I was setting myself up as this archbishop and all of this, building a church and all this kind of stuff. Like,
Was there a fact that he felt threatened?
well, like, it doesn't really matter, like, you know, but the one thing that was, I said to him, can you look at this without judgment? You know, I wasn't prepared to do that. And he said then, the last text then, he said that I was a wolf in lamb's clothing or something.
Well, I think I
like
saw that.
You know, so, you know, but that's okay. I can allow him to be that way, you know, because that's what you're going to get in life, you know. And he's very fearful, because he can only be coming from a very fearful place when he's coming out with stuff like that. And especially doing a Course in Miracles. But then another Course in Miracles student a couple of years ago wished that I would burn in hell. Do you know what I mean? Like, so, you know, what kind of a course they're
Not
doing.
very far, and both of you believes in hell.
Well, what kind of a course are them people doing? I don't know. But that's where they're at. They're buried in level 1. They're thinking that they're up in level 3 or level 4, and they're able to dictate to everybody else, like, you know. And what I would say, they're buried in the ego right mind.
Maybe he was believing Ireland was an illusion.
Huh?
Maybe he was believing Ireland was an illusion.
Well, who was he talking to? You know what I mean? Like, why was he giving Ireland if there's no Ireland? You know what I mean? Like, and this is what Jesus talks about in the Course, about level confusion. You know what I mean? Like, so we're here, we're in Ireland, we're at this level, and this is what we're doing. There's no point in us saying there is no separation. You
We're
know?
going to have some critics, Michael. Look what happened to Jesus.
I know. Right, any other questions before we finish up?
Yeah, who's this fella that's supposed to be
Intelligent
Satan
questions.
and half
Sorry, any intelligent questions?
Not intelligent, but so I was just brought up a bit earlier about death. Can we just do that very briefly?
Yeah.
So death is separation, and what's the tool?
Well, death is not separation.
It's not.
The ego is a tool for separation. Okay, the ego would say, rank, say a close relative of yours has died, now you're separate, they're gone to a different place and you're here, and all of that, they're dead and you're alive and all of this. It was a good point that Debbie brought up, like, you know. So, you know, what would the tool be for it? Anybody?
Oneness.
Huh?
Oneness, no.
Yeah, you have oneness, you have a responsibility, you know. You have
Awareness that the person
Relinquish your belief in
Yeah.
separation.
And having a fear of death would be the same. Then.
well, the fear of death is a rationalization of fear.
Okay.
You know, so you complete forgiveness on that. Like, well, complete forgiveness would be the answer to you're looking for that death, because it would be a fear of death, you know, more than anything else, you know. But you have to remember, you know, ultimately that there's no one and nothing outside you that can cause you any pain that's not already inside you. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, and that is so important. It's the most important line in the whole Course in Miracles. But this means, like, you can never hurt anybody else, and no one else can ever hurt you. You know, and this is why when I received those emails and text messages, that I wasn't hurt by them. You know? Because I know that this person can't hurt me. It can hurt my ego. So if I feel hurt, then first thing I recognize, hold on, this is my wee ego that's getting a wake-up call here. And that's okay. You know, I'm aware of that. And I can use that now through complete forgiveness to let that part of that ego go. It's only your ego that can get hurt, and if you will come to a point where you won't be hurt at all. This is why Jesus suffered and felt nothing on the cross. He had no ego inside that could cause him any pain. You know, and remember, the ego is only a thought of separation, and he had no belief in separation whatsoever. So they had no pain inside him, and there's no reason that anybody in this world cannot reach that standard. He says this in chapter 2. What I can do, you can do, and much more, he says. You know, and that's what he's talking about. Undo this belief in separation. Yeah? Anything else? Okay, we'll finish up there then. Yeah? Oh, did you want to?
It's just a good, for somebody who's afraid about, of speaking in public. One thing that helped me in that was that I thought of the collective, of the oneness, that I'm not addressing aliens from outer space.
Yeah.
That these people are human beings like me with the same,
And we're all
and
here.
we're all together.
And we're all here in a joint purpose.
Yeah.
Which is important.
Yeah, that's a bit of a help.
You know. So it's important. You know. But it's an amazing life choice to make, because you're joining God. Like, now you're.
I'll take one of those leaves.
But you are, you know, you are. You're joining God at a level of oneness. You're not a student anymore. You're stepping up to the plate to become one with Him. And what greater, you know, what greater gift can you give to God than saying, I'm going to be with you now, one. You know, I'm going to join you now. And Jesus says in the Course, that was one of the first things he said to me. And he said it to me actually before I came to the course. And he says, I ask those who have awakened to help me awaken my brothers, or your brothers. And I said yes straight away then. And I didn't know what I was saying yes to. Never heard tell of A Course in Miracles. And then I read that in the course. And then I knew exactly what he meant. You know? So there's no greater gift you can give to yourself. You know?
There's something in the Bible about, Jesus, whatever, anyway, about becoming an empty vessel.
Yeah.
So well,
That's
it
the
sounds
bank.
like what happened to you.
The bank.
You just...
The bank.
became
I
an
blew the
empty
bank
vessel.
out of smithereens.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
there was nothing
Yeah.
there, so it all came in then.
But Jesus talked about empty the cup. What's he talking about? Empty the bank.
Yeah.
Same thing. You know? Okay, folks. Thank you. Oh yeah, sorry.
What?
Please go meditations. Thank you for that. Does anybody else want application forms? Anybody else? Yeah.
Oh, no, good. It's online as well, so yeah.
Sorry, Michael.
Yes.
You bear with us all here for a moment.
Fine, Jesus.
So I just want to say, a little messenger told us there's an occasion coming up
Right.
for you
Yeah.
late September,
Right.
and we won't be in touch with you in that.
Right.
So we all made contact with each other, and everybody thought it would be a great opportunity
Right.
to say thank you very much. That we're all very, very grateful to you for everything you do, and it's just a little birthday.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
That's lovely. Thank you very much.